She deserves it more, my mother remarked, without diverting her attention from the arrangement of gourmet cupcakes on the tiered display stand. Jessica has consistently demonstrated greater dedication to her studies, while you have pursued different interests. The informal dismissal was more painful than a physical slap. I stood in my parents' kitchen, my medical school diploma still newly framed, attempting to comprehend what I had just heard. Mother, we both graduated with honors. We achieved identical GPAs. While my voice remained steady, I experienced a slight tremor in my hands. I am perplexed as to why you and Dad chose to settle all of Jessica's loans while mine remain unpaid. Audrey, from my mother's side, finally looked up at me with that familiar expression of mild disappointment. Your sister does not have a wealthy mentor like Dr. Fleming, who is taking an interest in her future. It is evident that you have consistently benefited from opportunities that Jessica has not had. I found it somewhat amusing that Dr. Vivian Fleming served as my research advisor, a role I attained through my dedication and commitment, exemplified by my 80-hour work weeks in the lab, while Jessica was enjoying leisure time skiing in Aspen with our parents. The situation had involved my dedication to working tirelessly while my twin sister benefited from our parents' consistent emotional and financial support. Consequently, I inquired, attempting to mask the pain in my voice, whether I was being penalized for seeking my own mentorship opportunities. At that moment, my father entered the room and placed an arm around my mother's shoulders. Audrey, please understand that this is not a matter of punishment. We are simply being pragmatic in our approach. Your sister requires more assistance at this time than you do. Your resourcefulness has consistently been evident. It is fascinating how this quality is often cited as a justification for not attending my undergraduate research presentations while simultaneously traveling across the country for Jessica's volleyball tournaments. Resourceful. Jessica received a new car for her 21st birthday, while I received a gift card to a gas station. Tomorrow marks Jessica's debt-free celebration party. The concept originated from my parents. They extended invitations to extended family, friends of hers, and even some of our former professors. The invitations stated that they were celebrating Jessica's achievement, as though graduating from medical school without debt was solely her accomplishment rather than a result of our parents' financial choices. I need to leave now, I said as I gathered my bag. I have an early shift at the hospital tomorrow. Will you still be able to attend Jessica's party? My mother inquired, a note of concern entering her voice. My concern is not for myself, but rather for the potential impact of my absence on my sister's special day. I have committed to attending, despite the unease it brings me. As I made my way to my car, I received a message from Dr. Fleming. I require an urgent discussion with you regarding the Patterson Fellowship. There is significant news to convey. I found myself staring at the screen, a stark realization dawning upon me. The favoritism exhibited by my parents was not only unjust but also poised to lead to public humiliation. Unfortunately, there was little I could do to prevent the impending situation. Since our birth, my twin sister Jessica and I have followed markedly different trajectories. I was the first to arrive, followed by Jessica 6 minutes later. According to family tradition, I was characterized as quiet and observant, whereas Jessica made her entrance known with robust and healthy cries. It is possible that this established a precedent for subsequent events. During our upbringing in Cleveland, Jessica was the more extroverted twin, adept at forming friendships and excelling in athletic pursuits. In contrast, I was more reserved and academically inclined, dedicating considerable time to our local library to explore a wide range of subjects. From astronomy to zoology, my parents consistently attended each of Jessica's soccer games and dance recitals. In contrast, my achievements at the science fair received only brief acknowledgement, such as a quick commendation and a pat on the head. By the time I reached high school, this pattern had become well established. Upon our announcement of the decision to pursue careers in medicine, our parents expressed enthusiasm, particularly for Jessica. In my case, however, there were discussions centered around concerns regarding the workload and my ability to manage the associated pressures. My father cautioned, medical school is not solely about intelligence. Audrey, the situation exemplifies determination and resilience. Jessica has consistently challenged herself to achieve greater heights. The irony was indeed poignant. During my undergraduate studies at Ohio State, I achieved a perfect GPA while simultaneously working part-time to manage my expenses. Jessica faced challenges in organic chemistry and physics, necessitating the assistance of costly tutors that our parents willingly provided. When she needed to retake the MCAT, they also financed an exclusive preparation course for her. Upon achieving a score in the 98th percentile on my initial attempt, their response was merely a nod accompanied by the remark, "That's nice, dear." Regardless of the circumstances, I held no resentment toward Jessica. She was my sister, my twin, and I held deep affection for her. She did not establish our parents' favoritism, rather, she merely reaped the benefits of it. At times, I sensed that she felt uneasy about their evident preference, although she never addressed it explicitly. We were both accepted into the same medical school in Michigan, where we spent 4 years studying together, supporting one another through challenging rotations, and celebrating each other's achievements. I had hoped that our parents would recognize us as equally accomplished individuals. However, they instead discovered new methods to highlight Jessica's achievements while downplaying my own. When I was chosen to present research at a national conference, Jessica coincidentally received an award for community service during the same weekend. Can you identify the event our parents participated in? However, a significant transformation occurred during our final year when Dr. Vivian Fleming, a distinguished neurosurgeon, recognized my research on pediatric traumatic brain injuries. Under her guidance, I thrived. For the first time, I had a mentor who acknowledged my potential and encouraged me to excel. Not in spite of my personality, but as a result of it. Dr. Fleming once remarked on your exceptional research abilities. "Audrey, you possess a unique talent for identifying patterns that often go unnoticed by others. Such insight is an invaluable skill that cannot be learned through traditional means." It would be beneficial for my parents to perceive me from her perspective. On the morning prior to Jessica's celebration, I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Fleming in her office. She is an impressive woman in her 60s, characterized by her silver hair and keen blue eyes that observe everything with excellent detail. Awards, published papers, and photographs of esteemed medical professionals from around the globe adorned the walls of her office. "Audrey, please take a seat," she said, indicating the chair opposite her desk. "I have some remarkable news to share." I experienced a surge of anticipation. For several weeks, I had been awaiting news regarding the Patterson Fellowship at Johns Hopkins. Recognized as the most esteemed neurosurgical research position in the nation, this opportunity is awarded to only one graduating medical student across the country. The committee has reached a decision regarding the Patterson Fellowship, Dr. Fleming stated, maintaining a carefully neutral expression. I remained silent. "They have selected you," she announced, breaking into a broad smile. "Congratulations, Dr. Audrey Collins. You are on your way to Baltimore." A profound sense of joy, disbelief, and validation washed over me in waves. The Patterson Fellowship represents the highest accolade for any neuro researcher. I find myself speechless, feeling somewhat overwhelmed. "Congratulations, Doctor." With conviction, Fleming made his statement. "Your research on neurovascular regeneration following traumatic injury has been revolutionary. The committee was especially impressed by your dual approach that integrates surgical innovation with pharmacological intervention." The fellowship offered a substantial stipend, a housing allowance, and, most significantly, full loan forgiveness. This would enable me to be debt-free, akin to Jessica, but achieved through my own efforts rather than parental preference. Furthermore, Dr. Fleming continued, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm, "I have received an invitation to Jessica's celebration this evening. Your parents have graciously extended an invitation to the faculty. Unaware of our mentorship, I would like to share the fellowship news at the event. Should you feel comfortable with that?" My stomach sank. "I am uncertain, Dr. Fleming. This evening is intended for Jessica, and my parents may perceive my actions as an attempt to overshadow her." Dr. Fleming's expression became more serious. "Audrey, I have been observing your family dynamics for the past 2 years. I've noticed your parents at hospital events and heard their comments about you and your sister. I understand your concerns, but often, public recognition is necessary for full acknowledgement. She was correct in her assessment. If my parents were to learn about the fellowship in a private context, they would likely downplay its significance or attribute it to mere luck rather than to my accomplishments. I acknowledged with a slow nod. You may proceed with the announcement. Upon exiting her office, I received a text from Jessica on my phone. My mother is putting in an excessive amount of effort for tonight's event, which I find somewhat embarrassing. I wish she would direct this level of enthusiasm towards celebrating both of our graduations. I noticed the message, feeling a sense of confusion. It was the first instance in which Jessica had recognized our parents' unequal treatment. Before I could compose a reply, another message arrived, this time from my mother. Please remember to dress in business casual attire for this evening's event. And kindly allow your sister to have her moment, as it holds significant importance for her. The disparity between the two messages was quite striking. It is possible that my previous perceptions of Jessica were misguided, and this evening may uncover truths that my parents have been evading for the past 26 years. The celebration of Jessica's debt-free status is taking place at a high-end restaurant in downtown Detroit. My parents have reserved the entire rooftop terrace, a lavish choice that undoubtedly incurred significant expenses. A prominent banner, "Congratulations, Doctor," welcomed me as I exited the elevator. It is worth noting that there are now 2 Dr. Collinses in the family. I adjusted my navy blue dress and took a deep breath. This evening belonged to Jessica. Irrespective of Dr. Fleming's intended announcement, I was determined not to allow years of resentment to jeopardize my relationship with my twin. Audrey. Jessica noticed me right away, excusing herself from a gathering of relatives to come over. She appeared remarkable in a silver cocktail dress. Her blonde hair, similar in color to mine, styled in a fashionable bob while I maintained my long, perfectly styled hair. I am grateful for your presence. Aunt Patty has inquired multiple times whether I have a boyfriend yet. I found humor in the situation despite my anxiety. What did you convey to her? That I am committed to my medical career. But if she is aware of any available neurosurgeons, I am open to inquiries. Jessica linked her arm through mine. This situation is quite concerning. My mother has extended invitations to a significant number of individuals from the medical school, including Dean Wilson. I observed the crowded terrace and confirmed that our father and the dean were having a discussion. It is evident that they have made significant efforts in their preparations. It is quite embarrassing. Jessica lowered her voice. Why is she only addressing me specifically? We both graduated. We both put in significant effort. The tension in my stomach eased somewhat. Perhaps Jessica was more perceptive than I had initially recognized. Audrey, Jessica, and our mother entered the room with a glass of champagne. Jessica, the Hendersons have just arrived. You recall Thomas Henderson, the chief of surgery at Cleveland Memorial? It would be a wonderful opportunity for you to greet him. She took Jessica's arm, effectively separating us, and then glanced back at me. Audrey, could you please verify if the caterers have set out the gluten-free options? Your cousin Beth is being quite particular about her diet once more. At that moment, I took on the responsibility of managing the catering while Jessica presented herself to the hospital administrators. Certain aspects remain constant. I was guiding the waitstaff to the appropriate tables when Dr. Fleming arrived. She appeared sophisticated in a crimson pantsuit, effortlessly commanding attention. Audrey, she said with warmth, embracing me, are you prepared for our announcement? I expressed uncertainty, admitting that the timing feels complicated. Dr. Fleming observed the gathering, noting the banner, the elegantly decorated cake adorned solely with Jessica's name, and the slideshow of images that prominently featured Jessica, with me occasionally appearing in the background. I see, she remarked softly. This is more complex than I had anticipated. From my vantage point on the terrace, I observed as my parents facilitated an introduction between Jessica and Dr. Margaret Wu, the chief neurosurgeon at Detroit Medical Center, where both Jessica and I had submitted applications for residency positions. A sense of unease washed over me. Were they attempting to leverage personal connections to secure a position for Jessica? Dr. Fleming. My father had noticed her and was now making his way over with my mother and Jessica accompanying him. It is a privilege to have you with us. I understand you have collaborated with Audrey on various projects. Some work? Dr. Fleming inquired, raising an eyebrow. Audrey has served as my primary research partner for the past 2 years. Her contributions to our study on traumatic brain injury were pivotal to its success. My parents shared a glance that I found difficult to interpret. My mother remarked positively, albeit somewhat ambiguously, Jessica has been actively involved in neurosurgical research. In fact, Dr. Wu recently expressed her admiration for Jessica's application to her program. I experienced a surge of frustration as I realized that Jessica had not engaged in neurosurgical research. Her area of expertise lies in neuropsychiatry, which is a distinctly separate discipline. My parents were clearly misrepresenting her experience, potentially jeopardizing my own opportunities. Dr. Fleming maintained a pleasant demeanor. Yet I detected a steely glint in her eyes. Is that so? How intriguing. I was under the impression that Jessica's emphasis was on psychiatric applications rather than surgical interventions. An uncomfortable silence enveloped our small group. My sense of hope was diminishing. This announcement is likely to exacerbate the situation rather than improve it. The dinner segment of the evening was in progress, with my parents positioned at the head table alongside Jessica, our grandparents, and Dr. Wu. My cousins and family friends assigned me to a secondary table, where I could hear the conversation but not participate in it. My father remarked to Dr. Wu that it was evident from an early age that Jessica was destined for greatness. Even as children, Jessica exhibited remarkable determination and has consistently been the most ambitious among the girls. Every utterance felt like a piercing blade. I moved my food around my plate, my appetite completely diminished. Dr. Fleming, seated nearby with other faculty members, occasionally met my gaze with sympathetic looks. Following the serving of dessert, my father stood and tapped his glass to gain attention. He expressed gratitude to everyone for attending the celebration of our daughter Jessica's significant achievement. As many of you are aware, medical school is an arduous journey, and to graduate not only with a degree but also debt-free is indeed a remarkable accomplishment. The audience offered polite applause. Jessica appeared to grow increasingly uneasy. We are fortunate to have been able to support Jessica throughout her education, my mother remarked, rising to join my father. We have consistently invested in her future, confident that she would bring us pride. I gazed at my plate, with tears of emotion on the verge of overflowing. The language was exact. They invested in Jessica, not in both daughters. The implication was unmistakable. At that moment, Jessica stood up and expressed her desire to speak. She gazed directly at me, her expression conveying an apology. This celebration appears to be lacking. Both Audrey and I graduated with identical GPAs. Both of us dedicated significant effort to our tasks. However, it is important to acknowledge that Audrey demonstrated an exceptional level of commitment, particularly as she accomplished her goals without the support system that I benefited from. A silence enveloped the audience. My parents appeared taken aback. Jessica, my mother whispered, this is not the appropriate moment. It is precisely the time. Jessica asserted, I cannot accept recognition that does not include my sister. It is unjust. And it has always been so. My throat constricted with emotion. After all these years, Jessica was publicly recognizing the imbalance. This acknowledgement was both validating and deeply poignant. My father made a swift recovery, exhibiting an unusually cheerful demeanor. Naturally, we take immense pride in both of our daughters. Audrey has also performed exceptionally well. This evening is dedicated to celebrating Jessica's accomplishment of becoming debt-free. A significant milestone. This is an achievement you facilitated, not one I earned, Jessica responded, her tone steady yet assertive. The atmosphere in the room was charged with tension. This situation was rapidly evolving into the scenario my parents had always dreaded, as their ideal family image began to fracture in public. At that moment, Dr. Fleming decided to stand and interject. If I may contribute to this discussion, she stated, her commanding voice pierced through the background noise. This appears to be an appropriate moment to convey some information regarding Audrey that many of you might not be familiar with. My parents exchanged concerned looks. Dr. Fleming announced that Audrey's research on neurovascular regeneration has earned her the Patterson Fellowship at Johns Hopkins. This fellowship is recognized as the most prestigious position available to graduating medical students in the country, offering full loan forgiveness and a substantial stipend. Gasps and murmurs circulated throughout the room. Dr. Wu regarded me with renewed interest, while my cousins engaged in animated whispers. Dr. Fleming noted that the selection committee specifically recognized Audrey's innovative dual-approach methodology, which she developed largely independently while managing a full clinical rotation schedule. I have had the privilege of mentoring numerous promising physicians, but it is rare to encounter the level of dedication and insight that Audrey consistently exhibits. The room responded with genuine and enthusiastic applause in my honor. Audience members were turning in their seats to observe me, smiling and nodding in acknowledgement. My parents appeared immobilized, their expressions reflecting a complex blend of shock, confusion, and a growing sense of dismay as they recognized that their meticulously crafted narrative regarding their daughters was being publicly dismantled. Jessica was radiating positivity toward me, showing no signs of jealousy in her demeanor. Dr. Fleming has additional updates to share. I am also pleased to inform you that I have taken the initiative to secure funding for the remaining balance of Audrey's medical school loans through our department's Merit Scholarship Fund. This decision was unanimously endorsed by the board in acknowledgement of her exceptional contributions to our research program. I, too, was able to graduate without debt, having earned that privilege through my efforts. Following Dr. Fleming's announcement, the atmosphere of the celebration changed significantly. Faculty members who had previously shown interest in Jessica began to engage with me, inquiring about my research and extending their congratulations on the fellowship. Several of my clinical supervisors recounted positive experiences regarding my work with patients, which I had not been aware they had observed. My parents remained at their table, their expressions reflecting a profound sense of shock. In addition to processing my fellowship and loan forgiveness, they were seeing their daughter's narrative deconstructed. The quiet, self-sufficient twin they had often overlooked was now the focal point of professional recognition. Jessica approached me, holding a glass of champagne. "Congratulations, sister," she remarked, gently clinking her glass against mine. "The Patterson Fellowship is truly remarkable. Why was I not informed? I only became aware of this information this morning," I responded. "I did not wish to detract from your celebration," Jessica remarked with a frown. "This extravagant party was conceived by Mom and Dad, not by me. I attempted to convey to them that it was excessive and unfair toward you," she said. "But you know how they can be once they have made a decision." "You did?" I inquired, taken aback. "Certainly, I did," Jessica replied, looking pained. "Audrey, I've always known that we received different treatment. I was uncertain about how to resolve the issue without exacerbating the situation." Before I could reply, Dr. Margaret Wu joined us. "Dr. Collins," she stated, making direct eye contact with me, "I was highly impressed by Dr. Fleming's presentation of your research. We should explore the possibility of you bringing your work to our neurosurgery department instead of Johns Hopkins." I was taken aback by this suggestion. "I appreciate your kind words, Doctor." However, Jessica interjected, stating, "She has already accepted the Patterson," while placing her arm around my shoulders with a sense of pride. "It is a unique opportunity, however. It is important to note that my sister tends to pursue multiple revolutionary endeavors simultaneously. I would wager that she will initiate another groundbreaking study shortly after her arrival in Baltimore," Dr. Wu remarked with a smile. "Upon completion of the fellowship, please consider Detroit as a potential opportunity. We would be fortunate to have you," she acknowledged to Jessica with a nod. "Both of you, in your respective areas of expertise." After she departed, I turned to Jessica in astonishment. "It was not necessary for you to take that action. I understand that you wished to remain in Detroit for your residency. And I still have that option," Jessica replied. "However, I will not allow my parents to manipulate the situation. Nor will I permit you to miss out on valuable opportunities. That is not the person I aspire to be." From across the room, I observed my parents finally standing up from their table, approaching us with caution. Their progress was slow, frequently interrupted by guests eager to discuss me. An unfamiliar situation that was evidently disconcerting for them. "Here they come," Jessica whispered. "Are you prepared for this?" "Not entirely," I confessed. "Dr. Fleming certainly had some commendable remarks regarding you," my father stated upon their arrival. His tone meticulously adjusted to convey pride while concealing his bewilderment. "The Patterson Fellowship is indeed a significant honor. Why did you not inform us that you were being considered for such a prestigious opportunity?" my mother inquired, her tone carrying a hint of reproach. "Would it have made a difference?" I inquired softly. "You have clearly indicated the areas in which your support and interest are focused." My parents shared uneasy looks. "That is not fair, Audrey," my father commenced. "We have consistently provided support to both of you. In different ways," my mother interjected promptly. "We provided support to both of you in distinct ways due to your differing needs," Jessica stated, shaking her head. "Mom, Dad, I propose we postpone this discussion for tonight, however. We will engage in a meaningful conversation about it soon. As a family." She conveyed this with a significant glance. Dr. Fleming approached me, interrupting my need to respond. "Audrey, the dean would like to speak with you. She mentioned the possibility of featuring your fellowship in the alumni magazine." She smiled at my parents, her expression cordial, yet her eyes conveyed a sense of determination. "You must take immense pride in having raised two such accomplished daughters." Witnessing the recognition of Audrey's hard work after all the challenges she has faced must be especially rewarding. The emphasis on "faced" was subtle yet unmistakable. My parents exhibited a sense of embarrassment. "Well," my mother remarked softly, "we have always recognized that Audrey is exceptional. Unfortunately, it is too little, too late." The week following the celebration proved to be transformative. The announcement of my Patterson Fellowship circulated within the medical community in Detroit, resulting in previously closed opportunities becoming accessible. Former professors, who had previously granted extensions to Jessica while denying mine, began reaching out to congratulate me. Classmates, who had shown little recognition of my presence throughout 4 years of medical school, suddenly expressed a desire for close friendship. My parents were actively managing the situation. They arrived at my apartment the day following the party, carrying gift bags and wearing strained smiles. "We have been considering," my father stated as he set a small box on my coffee table. "With both of you graduating and starting your careers, we should give you something special. We have chosen this for you." Inside was a rose gold watch, identical to the one they had gifted Jessica for her birthday 6 months prior. "It's lovely," I remarked, refraining from reaching for it. "Although it may be somewhat delayed," my mother responded with a slight flinch. "Audrey, we understand that you must be feeling occasionally overlooked. All of our actions were based on our confidence in your ability to manage challenges independently." Jessica required additional support, I responded, maintaining a calm demeanor. "That is a convenient narrative, however. It does not clarify why you chose to attend her presentations while neglecting mine. It is perplexing that you chose to invest in her MCAT preparation course while advising me to utilize free online resources. Could you please clarify why you covered her living expenses during medical school while recommending that I take out additional loans for mine? We have a limited budget, Audrey," my father stated. "We had to make decisions." "Indeed, you did," I concurred. "And consistently, you chose Jessica." My mother's eyes brimmed with tears. "We hold both of you in equal regard," she asserted. "Perhaps that is the case," I acknowledged. "However, the treatment we have received has not been equitable, and material gifts or delayed acknowledgement will not rectify that situation." At that moment, the phone rang. It was Dr. Fleming calling to discuss my impending relocation to Baltimore. I responded with gratitude, turning away from the astonished expressions of my parents. "I am available to discuss the housing options," I stated into the phone. "In fact, your timing is impeccable." 3 weeks later, I found myself in my vacant apartment, with the last boxes packed and prepared for the moving company. Jessica was seated on the windowsill, observing as I secured a final container of books. I still cannot believe you are departing next week, she remarked. Detroit will not be the same in your absence. You will be too occupied with your residency to realize that I am no longer here. I remarked playfully, although there was an element of truth to my statement. We had been inseparable throughout medical school, however. Our paths were now diverging, with mine leading to Johns Hopkins and hers remaining at Detroit Medical. I find myself reflecting on the actions of Mom and Dad, Jessica remarked unexpectedly, or perhaps did not do. I suppose. For many years, I believed I was fortunate due to the attention I received. However, it became clear that this attention was actually hindering my progress and fostering a reliance on their approval. I took a seat beside her on the windowsill. You did not make any mistakes, Jess. I also did not accomplish enough positive actions, she replied. I regret not having voiced my concerns earlier, she remarked with a sigh. The situation has deeply affected them. My mother frequently expresses her sorrow, believing that you must harbor negative feelings towards them. My father is sharing with anyone who will listen about my accomplishments at Johns Hopkins, as if he personally financed my research. I found myself surprisingly unbothered by this, responding with, "Let them. I no longer allow their approval to define my worth." Indeed, it was accurate. The persistent desire for validation from parents who would never fully acknowledge me has finally diminished. Dr. Fleming's mentorship exemplified true support, providing challenges when necessary, offering protection when required, and consistently recognizing my potential without reservation. What are the next steps for us? Jessica inquired. I grasped her hand. We will chart our own course, independent of the competition they established between us. Jessica smiled and squeezed my hand, expressing her agreement. Dr. Audrey Collins Patterson Fellow. I am incredibly proud of you, sister. For the first time in years, I experienced a profound sense of peace. The journey ahead presented challenges, yet it was distinctly defined, allowing me to navigate it according to my own preferences.